No.
We're gonna go live with it.
Through Facebook? Or
No, YouTube. You can get it on YouTube too.
YouTube.
That's what I suggest to people that aren't
But
Facebook
how do I
people.
look at actual YouTube?
Damn, there's my face again.
Tim's
Not
face.
appealing. Not appealing.
Tim, you got some great.
And we're live. And you can hear me. Welcome back to 2218's Attitude for Gratitude's weekly live podcast. Let me get that ugly mug off the screen. Stop camera and bingo bango. And that's a terrible screen to stare at. So we'll figure out a different way to get something else on the screen tonight. Tonight's a sit down with Alaina's pals, Jessica and Destini. Destini.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got that right. I had to take this out of my ear because I'm irritating. I irritate myself. It's unfortunate that this is what the audience hears too. No, that's the truth. Yeah. So welcome back, everyone. We're having the podcast from 2218 like we do every week. Remember, we're gearing up for the show on the 30th, which is going to be the year-end banger like we do every year. Tons and tons of guests coming through, past guests, 2 to 5 minutes at a time, depending on how many show up. We'll be doing some giveaways. We're not sure what we're going to give away yet, but there's always some free recovery talk here. It's free, and you win it every single week. 2218, that's where podcast is being held from, First Avenue South. Come on down here, get some recovery. Come be a member. This club could use some support. We talk about it every week. We give to the max. We didn't get the funds that we were hoping we were going to get, but there's next year and there's all year long. So come be part of this club. I know we're about to have a big event. Cheryl was reaching out to me about, and I should have had my ducks in a row before I even got on the program tonight to tell you guys about something I know nothing about right now. But I know we got a whoopee party coming up. Like a whoopee party. $10 suggested donation, December 31st. PJ party. So whoopee party, PJ party. Come on down with your jammies on. Meetings all night long. Dances through to the new year. There'll be a game room. $5 pancake breakfast at 7. We got the DJ of the year, DJ Jimmy B. No drugs, no alcohol. I will put the phone number up. There's a phone number for information if you want, 952-594-5394. I don't even know who you'll get if you call that number. It's just what's on the flyer. So we'll get that on here, but it is a whoopee party of whoopee parties. I'm just enjoying saying whoopee party. So you're going to hear me say it quite a few more times. 2218 medallion night and speaker night at 8 p.m. And then I believe like things really pop off after that. It's one of these parties that we have down in the auditorium and in the annex. So come on down. Like I say every week, man, make this your club. Make this your podcast. Come down and partake. If you got some ideas, call that number. I will put it on again, 952-594-5394 with some suggestions or some ideas, or if you have some donations, that goes through for this podcast. If you got some donations that you would like to see go to the club financially, please go to alano.org, 2218alano.org, or through the Facebook page or through the website. And I'll tell you right now, like, the goal for the new year is that maybe first show of next year we'll have our shit in order so you guys can hear us properly and see pretty pictures, not like you're looking at now with just some weird gentleman on a blacked out white screen. We really kind of fallen far from where we once were at on this situation, but that'll all change. We've got 2 good guests in the house. They're Alaina's peoples. But after the show, they'll be our peoples. Right, gals?
For sure.
Yeah, so that's what it is. We got Jane's Cafe. We got the monthly dances after this. I'm not sure of the January dance date, but I know we're doing it every month again. We got meetings every day here at 2218. We do have affordable memberships. So like I always say, come on down. Jane's Cafe is tomorrow night. I don't know if she will message me before the night's over so I can get into you guys the menu. But as always, it's, I don't know, $5 or $6, and it's her food slaps. Like, it's always homemade. It's always made with some love. One of the only clubs that are still doing an affordable dinner. So come on down and get some meats. It's always like a hearty meal with some type of dessert and coffee and whatever. Like, it's good food. It's a good, well thought out, planned dinner, and that's tomorrow night. Come on down, get some food, and then go check out a meeting, because I know they do the speaker meeting, I believe at 8 o'clock on Saturdays as well, and that is an open meeting, meaning anyone who wants to come on down should come on down. Podcast stuff. Make this your show. Give us some ideas. Let us know what you'd like to see, how you'd like to see this podcast evolve into the new year, guests you would like to hear on the show, or if you'd like to be on the show, come on, get at me or get at Alaina or leave us a message or something or other. Share this, follow this, subscribe, like it, do all that, them cool terms you're supposed to say about it. Do that stuff. And
Smash the like button.
smash the like button. Like, smash it. All right.
Smash that. for
Big
sure.
bros in the house. See, like, we've got people on YouTube that listen, but it doesn't show us because we're on a Facebook feed, plus other people that open from a different Facebook feed. So if you are trying to interact, you can through YouTube, because it will pop over to the Facebook feed. But if you're not on the Facebook feed through the 2218's Alano attitude for blah, 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 I don't even know. I don't know. I've only been doing this for 2 years, so like, why would I know them type of things? All right, guess what?
Wow.
We got some guests in the house, but first, Alaina,
Yeah,
how goes it?
it goes really good.
Prove it. Tell me. How's it going? What's up? Talk to us. We got some help here for us this week?
Well, I
Self-care.
have something that I read in the big book at a meeting the other day, but other than that, life is really flipping good.
Well, that's good. How's the family life with the kids?
Kids are good. My daughter turned 20 today.
Happy birthday, young
Bianca.
Happy
She-
birthday.
She's a normie,
That's
even though she's 20.
and
That does not make her a normie.
kid of Alaina.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
there's something to be said there.
she's not normal. She's just like me.
Okay. You did a full 180 there.
She survived
She's
this
just like
long.
me. And she survived this long. I kept her alive this long.
Winning.
I know.
Can't even keep a house plant alive, bud.
I am keeping a houseplant alive, though. I have a really good friend that gave me Judy. You know
So
Judy.
Judy's keeping your house plants
No,
alive.
Judy gave me a houseplant.
Okay.
She left her purse at the Alano one time, and I brought it all the way to her house, and she gave me a houseplant as a thank you. And I've kept it alive all this time. It's been like 6 months.
Do you know what kind of plant it is?
No,
Tell me it's a fern.
I don't know what it is.
All right,
It's
we'll
not
call
a
it a
fern.
fern.
I know what a fern is. It's not a fern.
This is a new fern. So you got a plant going. Do
Yeah.
you have more than one plant?
No, I just have one.
The one plant?
The one. The one. I can't even keep shit alive in my yard.
But that's good stuff. Like,
If I had a fern, I would definitely name it Fern Gully.
bam! Fern's a good name. I like that name. All right.
Oh, I wonder why.
So, what did you get out of the big book?
Oh my gosh.
It's one
So-
of these things, though. Like, you guys went over it in your meeting, and then it just struck you. And
So
you're like,
we read
amazing.
the story "Listening to the Wind" in the big book, and there was a part in this that has everything to do with taking care of yourself. It says, "I was allowing others to control my sense of well-being and behavior. I came to understand that the behavior, opinions, and thoughts of others were none of my business. The only business I was to be concerned with was my own."
Whoa! Hey, do us a favor. Read that again. Serious. Read it again.
Oh my gosh. All right. It says, "I was allowing others to control my sense of well-being and behavior. I came to understand that the behaviors, opinions, and thoughts of others were none of my business. The only business I was concerned with was my own."
Just like in the acceptance, where the only thing we can change is us.
Yes, and right now, so everybody knows I work at a treatment center, and everybody in this treatment center is all about being in other people's business and wanting to control everything. And I'm trying to explain to them that if you don't take care of yourself and do what you need to do and not worrying about other people, you're just going to keep spiraling back into this circle of not finding the recovery that you need.
So, I don't even think this is devil's advocate, but I want to ask you personally a question about what you're talking about. Is in your early recovery, I know you had an issue with taking on other people's problems.
I always took on other
Okay,
people's problems.
so is that kind of like you did with what you just read?
Yes.
Like that was an issue for you in early recovery, if I remember, right?
Yes, and one of the things when I was in early recovery is that I wanted to help others to not deal with my own issues.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an easy escape. Like really.
And I wasn't going anywhere in my recovery until I stopped listening to the things that were going on around me and stopped dealing with the drama and everything else that was revolving in the recovery world, because it does, and just deal with myself, and then things started to get better.
I think Jess just said it though. It's like it's easier to look at your problems than my own.
I was they call it Captain Save-A-Ho, and I try to do it all the time.
Mm-hmm. But not as much anymore.
No.
So like, is it? And the reason I bring, you know how I ask questions, I always ask them in the dumbest way because I try to see it from someone's point of view who doesn't do recovery. My goal is to help someone who's not in recovery and wants some recovery. So I'm always trying to like question it in that form. But like you're dealing with women in early recovery or women who are at closer to their most relapse or their last drink, closer than most people that aren't in treatment facilities. So to try to get something like this to stick, like, isn't that a big hurdle for you to expect them to understand what you're even saying?
I don't even expect them to understand it. I just keep repeating myself.
And hopefully it'll stick.
And hopefully they'll just be like, oh yeah, you said this to me one time. Or then they'll start talking about it in their little groups or something. And then it'll be like, oh, they did hear me.
But it is basically quit worrying about other people's shit and focus on yourself because you can't change no one but yourself.
Yes.
Is that what you read?
Yes.
Because I'm a half-wit when it comes to readings. Like 5 years of reading.
It's not worrying about other people's opinions, whether somebody's saying you're not working your program right. Well, why do they have an opinion on your program? They should be working on their own program.
We were all guilty of that at one point in recovery.
Exactly. But it takes us a while to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
The opinions, the gossip, the everything, it's not something that you have to worry about. You have to learn to take care of yourself, and that's part of the self-care thing, is that you have to learn how to do these things.
We should learn.
You have to.
No.
I like that word, have to.
I know, but that's a you're right. But
because you don't always.
No, and that's a dangerous thing.
And it's okay to fall back.
Yeah. When someone hears you saying this is what you have to do.
Well, I'm not saying say that to somebody else. I'm saying say that to yourself.
Yeah, okay. We're talking about self-care.
Yes. I'm not saying
not suggestive.
Never say that to somebody else.
All right. That's what I was getting at.
Absolutely not.
Because I always thought it was bullshit when I was over at New Way, and they'd be like, you got to be careful with the I statements. Like, when you don't say I, when you're saying we or us or they, like, oh, we used to get high like this, or we used to, other people assume you're telling them what they used to do. Instead of saying, I used to get high like this. And I used to be like, that's bullshit. Like, it would bug me because someone would be over there like, oh, you're trying to say I got high like you got high or whatever. That's a thing. But it's a suggestion that was given to use I statements when it comes to talking about stuff like that. And I thought it was so petty, but it's not. We're talking about self-care. That is on improving yourself. So that's a good one. That's what you guys read at 1010?
No, I haven't been to the 1010. I went to a Thursday night meeting, and they alternate between the big book and the 12x12.
Banger.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alaina.
Yeah.
That's good.
How was your week?
You know what? I'm sorry, guest. We should be getting to you by now, but I do need to address something. Last Friday, we had Benton and Tony on, and I was dealing with some being sick. I don't even know what I talked about on the show, to be honest with anyone who's hearing it now. I don't want to listen back to it. I'm ashamed. I was dealing with being sick all week, and Friday at about noon, my chest started getting all clogged up and whatever. And when I got to the show, I thought I felt good. About halfway through, my head hurt so bad and I couldn't keep my eyes open. Well, I ended up it got bad. Like, Thanksgiving is when I got sick, but Friday it all like came back, and everyone left. I went out to the parking lot to leave, and I passed out in my truck for about an hour. Very dangerous. It was like 10 below last Friday. My truck wasn't running, and I was sick on top of it. But when I got home at 102-degree temperature and like I was hallucinating, I fell asleep at an intersection on the way home too. And like I said, I don't know what was talked about on the show. The two guys that were in studio, I don't even know if we brought it up, but like I work with them. They didn't say anything bad was brought up, but they're good about the recovery. They'll be back on the 30th as well. I wanted to apologize and like tell people that if you're sick, man, listen to your body. Don't push it. It's easy to say it from where I'm at now, but I shouldn't have came and did the show last Friday, and I'm sorry that we did have a show. I probably know why we didn't get it started till 10:30 or 9:30, because I was whacked. All right, so in house tonight, we've got two new guests that have never been on the show. Who are you?
My name's Jessica, and Alaina is my sponsor.
Nice. And who are you?
I'm Destini, and I work with Alaina at Freedom Center.
Okay. Are both of you guys? Hang on, it's gonna get loud here. Sorry, are both of you guys in recovery?
Yes, I have been in recovery since March 24th, 2020.
Nice. Congrats.
Thank you. My sober date is October 6th, 2021.
Nice. So, like I said, I've never met you. I guess I have met Jess at Sunday night meeting at Phoenix, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm an ass. I don't remember much about that stuff because I'm not in there meeting many people, fellowshipping like I used to. I'm in there on some recovery shit. Or when it came to Phoenix, it was like responsibilities.
The treasurer.
If it was Sunday night, I was there doing a service position, I'm sure. So, how's life going? Jess, we'll start with you. Talk to us. What's your recovery looking like today? What do you do?
Well, mostly my focus is my career.
What's that?
I'm a nurse. And I nearly lost that career in my addiction. I've definitely put myself, my patients, other people in jeopardy with my actions and use. And I'm thankful that I'm not in a spot like that anymore. But yeah, I love what I do. I try to do it every day. Of course, financially right now it's great because everywhere.
You float?
No, I work in the operating room.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
OR.
so I work in the surgery, and it's super dope. I love doing it. Today I got to scrub into my favorite kind of surgeries and pass the instruments, and it's just a really great day.
So LPN, RN, AR, PC, DCL, what? Also, I made up a lot of those.
No. So the funniest thing I've seen was about nurses that sign their signatures and would say Jessica, RN, BSN, CNOR, DTF.
Don't you fuck. I had to say it because I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So I just realized this is our microphone. It's this laptop right where that little white light is. So as close as you're comfortable leaning up and talking towards it. I'm sorry. Typically we get to use these mics, but I just got a message.
It's really funny that you say that because the clients at work asked me what an LPN is, and I said it's a low-paid nurse. They're like, "What's an RN?" I said, "A rich nurse."
Oh my gosh.
Licensed practitioner nurse.
Licensed practical nurse,
Yes.
and then registered.
So
nurse.
the RN is the one with the better money.
I have grossed $9,000 in 2 weeks a couple times this year.
Is that because of overtime or just because you got paid to go to specific areas?
Overtime and bonus. So right now everywhere is so short staffed.
I need to be an RN.
I get $50 an hour bonus to pick up in addition to my wage and overtime, and $9 an hour if it's a weekend shift.
So quick question about that, and I know I asked you to kind of start telling me your life story, and then we just start talking about something. But that's how the show. That's how the show's gonna go.
Squirrel.
Yeah, definitely. See, and I already forgot what I was going to ask you about. So the reason I just stopped us about this, and you're talking about how short-staffed, is that nationwide still?
Yes.
Okay, because I worked the job I just had were for 5-6 bosses that bought homes, and the one guy, he's getting into Airbnbs, but he also now has 2 locations that they're nurse Airbnbs. It's
yes.
Have you heard of this?
So I was a travel nurse
okay.
In 2019, and we have many travel nurses where I work. Many of the staff left my work to become travel nurses, and they're getting paid double or triple the money. because it takes so long to train somebody into this position that if you can walk in and do the job within 2 or 3 days, they're going to pay you a shit ton of money.
So you're talking at there are times you're making over 100 an hour.
137 on
Alright.
the weekends, yeah.
So then, like, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know the exact date, but I know it was 20
Yes.
was your clean day.
Yes.
And you're talking about traveling in 19.
Yeah.
So what, you're out there getting whacked out while doing your job still?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Okay. And like I said, if there's something you don't want to talk about,
No,
I'm all right with it.
I'm not proud, and this isn't to brag.
Hey, it's your
but
life.
my sickness was, I would use in the morning, I would go to work, it'd be lunchtime, I would leave, go back to my hotel or my Airbnb and use again and go back to work.
All right. Was it like speedy type use? Or,
Yeah.
All right. So, and none of that matters. I'm just saying, like, you managed. Did you get caught up with work and your use ever?
I mean, to an extent, yes. But I was never caught with substances or on substances.
Okay.
I was caught because of mental health issues when I was hospitalized, and they tested me, and then it all caught up to me that way.
It got kind of burnt you up a little bit. So, like, I'm going to be saying some things not properly, but you'll know what I'm asking.
Yes.
Because we've had we've had like 5 different nurses on, and 3 of those 5, like Finn, he's never had issues, but I know that like Jennifer had some issues. Jane, Rachel's sponsor, she's the nicest lady, short hair, blonde, but she's been a nurse for real long. But they had to deal with they had some issues with their use, and they had to go through some program.
Yes.
It's like a 3 initial, or I don't know what it is. Have you had to deal with that to keep your license? Have you had repercussions to that extent?
Yes, it's called Health Services Professional Services, and they monitor nurses and doctors and people that have licenses where their actions could affect the public.
So, like, are you having to drop UAs?
Yes.
Okay, because, like, I know Jen, and she talked. Were you here when she was in? Jen, blonde hair.
For Jen.
Okay, Jess was here, matter of fact. But like, she's, I think, 5 years in. Still, she has to pay for her own UAs and goes in. It's color wheel type shit.
Yes.
2 to 3 times, I don't know, every other week or something. But like, she sees it as a privilege to be able to do that. Like, yeah, it sucks paying for it, whoop-de-woo. But like, what is that like for you to go have to piss in a cup as a nurse because of your substance, your history with substances?
I don't mind it. You know, it's par for the course. I'm grateful that I still am allowed to practice what I love to do. It's an inconvenience quarterly when you have to submit your reports and this and that, but I don't mind because it was the catalyst that got me on the path where I needed to be.
Is that when everything kicked into gear to get clean? Was when all that came to a head, in a way?
Yes, because I was not ready to sober up on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely was not.
Okay.
And I don't think that I would have been.
So, like, I've always been a big proponent. For a while, I was like, the only way it's gonna work is if you do it for you. But like, and I understand there's sometimes getting clean for your kids does work for some people. Because of church, because of legal reasons, whatever the case is. That was, you didn't get clean because you wanted to. By the sounds of it, correct? You know what I'm asking.
I know what you're asking. And how I want to answer that question is to tell you that my purpose in life is performing my job on a mission trip where I volunteer my time, go care for kids that wouldn't have the surgeries they would have. And I actually know this is my life's purpose. And if I would have continued on the path that I was on, I would not have been allowed or had the privilege to be able to continue volunteering and impacting people the way I was. On the other hand, it also affected livelihood. So yes, I was going to do it either way.
Okay. So, and as of today, like, we can't worry about tomorrow. It's not here. But the way I've lived it is I can't worry about tomorrow. It's working.
It is working.
You're happy.
I'm so happy.
Like, what I'm hearing the most part of it is like you're saying you're doing what you love.
I do.
I mean, and I don't need to know what your age is, but a lot of people, when they get to their career, I know people that we've had on the show that are in their late 50s and like, yeah, I've worked a job I've hated my whole life. Like, you're doing something you love. And you get to remember yesterday. Like, that's cool. And you're not jeopardizing people. Maybe you weren't before, but
No,
y'all
I most
know
definitely was.
you never. Yeah, I get it, and that's awesome.
No,
Like,
it was not awesome, but it is awesome.
no, it's
that I'm
awesome where
not-
you're at now.
Yes.
No, it was awesome that you're doing dope and working with people.
Oh
Isn't
my
that
gosh! And then you went to treatment.
Yeah.
I did.
So
checked
that
in
was
with treatment.
you brought yourself to treatment.
Yes,
Okay, where did you go?
I went to Hazelden.
Nice. Did your insurance
Yes,
they helped out?
They did, and I got short-term disability while in treatment. Luckily.
That's and it was all because did you have an advocate for you, or did you do it all yourself, or how did you find out that insurance would pay for it and you could get short-term disability?
Well, I actually had a meltdown at work, and went to my manager and said, I can't do this anymore. I need help. And so I was also dealing with the program we were talking about, HPSB.
HPSB.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
work.
And my case manager said, you got to go to treatment. And I picked one, and I checked in for about a week, and I wasn't ready to deal with feelings or face myself.
Right. Okay.
And after a week, I walked out, and I went and used again.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh shit, what did I just do? I need to go back to treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know.
Almost like buyer's remorse in a way?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't even know how I ended up at Hazelden itself, but I made the call, and for some, God works in mysterious ways, and it was covered.
That's the shit. And then how did you find out about disability?
Because I needed FMLA from my job.
Okay.
They turned me onto that. So when you have a great career, they offer good benefits, and short-term disability is a benefit that I'm privileged to have.
That's awesome.
And if you bump it up to where it will cover reasonable. So for instance, I even had surgery this year, and it covered me. I mean, not at the wage that I'm accustomed to
There
living.
was something.
It was something.
But
so
family is the shit. Like, people don't realize, like, if you're responsible, that could, like, it holds your job. It
Yes.
gets you some money in your pocket.
Yes.
It's something that was set up for, like, in my past, I abused it when I was using it.
Yes.
Like, there was a way of getting around it, and boo-hoo, for me, I need to get paid and not have to show up when I don't want.
Yes.
But it's also set up for reasons like what you went through and what you've gone through. Like, that's awesome. So you found some, was that the first time in your life that you went into recovery?
When I was in nursing school, I also knew that I had a problem and went to an outpatient, and somehow I wasn't referred or anything, but I did sober up for a while, and then it just
On your
fell
own?
apart. Yes. But this time it clicked.
But that's all right. Cool. Like, that's good. How long was the Hazelton program? Was it the 45-day or what is it?
Oh my God, I don't even remember. Yeah, something like that.
I know it comes
was
down
over
to
a month.
what it's like. Whatever insurance covers
Yes.
with Hazelton and like Fairview, like
Yeah.
not nicer, spendier, more costly,
Yes.
more costly facilities.
Facilities that don't take state insurance.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
You're right. They don't.
It is unfortunate.
I know Fairview did. I don't know what it is now. I know that things have changed because when I went to Fairview, I go there like tomorrow night. We have a commitment. We go back there and speak. The majority of everyone who shares, it's all alcoholics. And when it's always meth or heroin. Like, when I was there, and I talked to a few of the people, and they're like, yeah, insurance won't cover it if you come in here as a heroin user or a meth user. So they all go get drunk.
Crazy.
In order to get in there, like, 90% of the guys I talked to said, yeah, we just went and got a fit, got drunk as shit, and came in there. But they're all heroin, and they could get put on Suboxone or get whatever this was. Like, that's whatever. It's the insurance system. However, it's changed or worked with different administrations. Different things change. So, I'm getting to know you this way by like asking all this shit. All right. So you found some recovery. How long after you got done with recovery did you get back to work? Or were you working?
No, I was inpatient.
Boom.
I was inpatient, and this is where Alaina comes into my story, because while I was at Hazelton, I realized that I needed a sponsor, and I knew absolutely no one in my life was clean or working the program. And did I text you or call you?
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook Messenger. So I messenger and said, look, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm going through. Can you please be there for me? And I said temporarily.
Of course, temporary sponsor. While you're at Hazleton, you reached out to her?
Yes.
Was that because you were suggested to do so?
I was told I needed a sponsor, and I didn't know where the hell I was going to find one when I went home, so I wanted something set up before I left.
Okay, so you took the bull by the horns. In a way, like, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, like, you were looking forward to doing some recovery. Like,
Yes.
you were on gung-ho, let's stay clean. What do I need to do to stay clean?
What do I need to stay? Yes.
All right. So you unfortunately you got Alaina, and I'm joking. I'm joking.
We were friends before this.
That was gonna be my next question. Is how did you, prior to calling her, thinking about how do you guys even know each other? Like I heard a story about. Like,
I want to hear Alaina's side of the story, and then I will elaborate if need be.
Alaina, I heard something about like your last relapse or something, and she's involved or something. Let's talk.
So
get this shit out on the table.
I met Jessica because I was seeing her brother that I met on a dating site.
Okay, all right. Really?
Yes.
Talk about small world. So you got some Tinder going with her brother, and then you guys.
And then I met Jessica, and we hit it off right away.
More so than him.
So then I started hanging out with her.
Of course.
More than him.
I'm way doper than he is.
Because I had more fun with her, and it wasn't just the drinking; it was the hanging out, listening to music, and doing stuff like that.
You guys clicked.
We clicked.
How long ago was this?
This was like it was before you said, it was probably 2018.
Oh, so it was a few 4 or 5 years ago.
It was like,
at least.
What's your sober date?
2 years ago.
2019. So it was like 2018.
November or December of 2018.
Okay.
No, because I started seeing him in the middle of the summer. So it was during the summer.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Mm-hmm.
I can't remember dates. You guys are wild. I can tell you maybe yesterday or the day before, but my dad's good at that shit. Like, oh yeah, July of 14.
And when I first met her, she knew I was sober. And then I started, every once in a while, I would go over there and I'd have a drink. And then I'd have another drink. It was just an excuse to drink at first. It was like,
and then you had your little girl.
I can go over to Chris's house and I can drink. So that was my excuse. And then I got to know her. And I think I went and drank with her twice. And it wasn't just a drink. It was.
But this is when you were in and out. Because you've been in recovery for 20 years. Like, yeah. And this is one of the times that this is the last drink.
This was the year that I could not sober up.
But the last drink you had was with this girl.
The last drink I had with her was on her birthday in 2019.
You didn't hear me. The last drink you had, that's not your sober day. Was the last drink the day after. So the last drink you had was with her.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I don't even remember that night.
I remember it because it was my birthday and we went to Wild Bill's and Alaina said, I gotta work in the morning. I can't drink a lot. Oh my goodness.
Famous last word.
Did we drink a lot? And remember, this girl woke up on my couch and I think I said, you gotta go to work. Nope, I can't go to work.
I called myself in and I was in charge. I called myself.
You called yourself in?
I called my coworker and said, you have to go to work for me. I'm sick.
That's funny.
She was sick.
So here's kind of a backing up question is like I said, I didn't ask your age. I don't need to know it. How long have you been a nurse?
I have been a nurse since 2011. Okay. So 12 years now.
So like there's that one lady they showed us in Detox and I've watched it quite a few times. It's some speech. It's like I didn't start with a needle in my arm. It's some mom. And she was alcohol, but the way she said, like we don't start with needles in our arms. The reason I bring that up is like back when you were a nurse, when you became a nurse in 11 or 2012, whatever, like you weren't using them, were you, when you first started? It just progressed, right? Like when was it a problem? When did it become a problem for you?
2018.
Okay.
It became a problem.
Yeah, when you met Alaina.
Recreationally.
I really shit on you tonight, aren't I? I'm joking. So it's I love this. I know.
Term.
Here you go. Oxymoron.
Who uses recreationally?
Yeah. Here, I'm a recreation. I just shoot heroin on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So you recreationally like meth or speed or whatever for a couple years prior to it becoming an issue?
Probably from when I was 17 until 2018, I was a recreational drug user.
Okay. No, and that happened. Like everyone has that part of a story where it's like I used because it was fun, and I used until it wasn't fun. Like it became a problem because it wasn't fun anymore. There's a reason we became addicts. Like that lady said, I didn't start with a fucking needle in my arm. It evolves to that. So it becomes a problem. So within a year, shit went downhill quick.
It did. It did. I started dating a dude, and he was on methadone. And I would hang out with him, and I wouldn't use it then because that wasn't my jam.
Right.
And then I tried it, and it became
It
my
became
jam.
your jam.
It became my daily fucking jam that I spread on that bread. Mm-hmm.
That's like everyone's. That's similar. One of these things I brought up is like I always thought my story was so special and unique. Come to find out, like, nah, it's everyone's story. It's all the same. Like, details are a little different. People die at different times. There's different reasons, but it always seems to be the same. Like, it was fun for a while, and then it became my everyday. Then I needed it before I got to work. I had to do lunch. Like, that's the only reason I could get through my days.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna stop there. I feel like we're just punking Destiny.
You're good.
All right. Talk to me. Who are you again?
I'm Destiny.
Destiny. Hi. Hey, audience, sorry about the noises. I realized like the only way we have mics right now is the laptop. So I'm moving. I got to get Eric or one of our engineer people to come back in and get everything all synced back up. I think for the show on the 30th, that's going to happen. So until then, you're going to hear shit like this. There it goes. All right. So Destiny. What's up? Talk to me. What is I kind of heard how we opened up. Like how do you're here because you work with Alaina?
Mm-hmm.
She's been bugging you about this for a while?
Nope, just called me the other day. I didn't even know she was doing a podcast.
She got busted in another lie.
Yeah.
That's
I can give you my long and short.
Yeah.
So I'm 40. I will tell you my age. I'm 40.
You don't look a day over 39. No, I'm joking.
That's what I thought.
That's not what you use those jokes with boys, not girls. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, so I partied my way through high school. I was a drinker, pot smoker, made my way through like 8 years of college, smoking pot and drinking.
Yeah, just average kid shit.
Yeah, yeah, like whatever. So what we do in the country, right? But okay, so drinking got a little bit heavy there. Once I ended up going to chiropractic school when I was graduated when I was 30. I was in a 4-year relationship, and that ended a couple years after I graduated, and we were drinking heavy. And that
after you got your degree?
After I got my degree. Okay. I never got my degree, or I never started practicing in my degree.
You just got
probably because
right. There was more important shit to do.
Yeah, I mean, you know how you are when you're.
Would you say like yours went from like a college career, a drinking, partying in college, and then when you got done, you kept the party going type deal?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. My whole family are alcoholics, so like I call it partying. But
reason I ask is
genuinely was probably I was an alcoholic. I just didn't.
Well, I mean, and yeah, okay. That's not even the reason I ask is like, did you consciously know like, fuck, I should go get work. I can go start work, but instead I want to do this.
No, I think the reason I didn't, to be honest, I didn't learn this till I didn't realize this till I went to treatment. I probably never started working in my field because of some deep-rooted like negative core beliefs. You know what I
mean? Okay. Oh shit, you got some going on.
For real though, like almost every wrong turn I've taken in my life, I can stem back if I peel away all the excuses that I've told myself and all the excuses that I've made for myself. It's all because I probably just quite feel good enough. You know what I mean?
So, and you know what? I'm sorry, audience. Is I always say this at the beginning. Like mental health is real. If you're struggling, please reach out. We'll put up some numbers for some hotlines, and Alaina usually puts her number up. I'll get my number up. If you are struggling, reach out. Like I say, always. Like, you're loved. Someone cares about you. If no one told you today, I'll tell you, like, I love you. It can be worse out there. We get it. Mental health is real. There's help in Minnesota. So just reach out if you're struggling. The reason I bring that up, not making assumptions, but it sounds like there's some mental health shit, untreated mental health. Mm-hmm. In a way, call what you want. Anything up here, I call it mental health. That's bullshit. I'm not making an accusation of claiming I know what's going on up in the noggin.
For sure.
But that's what it's not like you figured.
Yeah, I mean that part, the negative core beliefs thing, that was just unbeknownst to me. That was just like totally, I had no clue that's what it was.
Oh, I'm going to go on a side note. Negative core beliefs.
Yeah, I know. I want to know.
Where does that come? Like, do you blame this on the way you're raised? Blame it on the drinking, the habits you. Where does negative core beliefs come from, and how do you even figure this out?
I had the best counselor ever in treatment. That's really like I honestly can. Negative core beliefs are where it's at, especially if, like with success in recovery. For me, like
okay, so negative core beliefs are like the deep-rooted negative thoughts we carry about ourselves, and our brains are so good at not feeling those feelings that come along with like I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable. There's a whole slew of them. Like those are the ones that stick out for me. Like I'm not worthy. I'm not lovable. I always do things wrong. I'm not good enough. Just my big ones. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, but there's just a slew of them. And what's cool, I don't know, what's not cool, but interesting once you peel back the layers of negative core beliefs. Like I told myself for the longest time that like I like when you can tell yourself like I don't have time to do that. Really, we all have time to do everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's your brain's way of not wanting to feel not worthy or like you're gonna fail or like you're you know.
That was a whole different turn at it than the way I was just thinking. I thought it was like a way of co-signing your own shit, not to have to do something. But
it's both. But if you peel it back one extra layer,
yeah,
it's absolutely probably subconsciously because you don't feel like you're going to succeed or.
So you think that's a protection, like some type of form of trying to protect yourself from failure? Or, God, I'm right. I'm
like
trying
a
to
survival mode. Sure, I mean.
Well, self-preservation is like one thing you were born with. Always,
sure.
Like it's like the fear of death or whatever. But so this counselor helps you open your eyes to this. Where does the process go from that moving forward on how to even deal with that or correct it? I don't know if that's something that gets corrected.
No, like once it clicked for me, okay, cool. Like I was in college for 8 years. Like, okay, I get it. Now how do I fix it? You know what I mean? And like recognizing the excuses that you tell yourself is one thing, but honestly, the only way that I've really been shown to fix those is like daily affirmations. Like write yourself a worth statement. You know what I mean?
What's a
like,
worth statement? I'm gonna ask you some things that
we're
gonna think are just but
mine was like you like okay, like make this whole list of like what you would consider your values to be. Mine is like integrity, happiness, love, like a whole slew of adjectives that you know, and then you just work them into a sentence, you know, but an I am paragraph,
right.
You know, like I have the ability to show up as the best me ever. I am worthy of all the love and acceptance in this world. Blah 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 blah.
Yep.
And just but work all of those values that you picked for yourself into a paragraph, and say that to yourself in the mirror every day.
And you write it out.
Yeah, and you write it out, and you absolutely write it out. But it's not. You got to take it a step further and like read it out loud to yourself every day, preferably in the mirror while you're looking at yourself. And if you got to lie to yourself to kick it because you don't love yourself yet, your brain's pretty cool. Like eventually it will kick in.
Like 27 days of repeating the same thing, it becomes a habit or something.
Right. Or even just little post-its of like, I'm worthy. I am successful. I'm not a failure.
I got in a picture of where in my bathroom where I go pee. I had like 10 blue post-it notes. Like I want in my bathroom at my house. No, but I do know that was something my counselor suggested, and I've had them out there for like 5 years, and it's just like stay in the solution, do the next right thing, just shit that you keep reading it every day type deal. But so positive affirmation. I had someone at my house like, Tim, what the fuck is all those post-its on your wall? I'm like, read them. They're not gonna hurt. Except the last one's like something else.
Now we gotta know.
It's a bad dad joke.
I need to come over and go to the bathroom.
Hey, she's already doing it apparently.
Yeah.
So you're now.
Tell you what it says.
So now you're peeling back the onion and you're trying to get to the core because now you're like, your eyes are open to this issue that you believe was an issue, and now you're like game plan, boom, it's time to execute, boom. Do you still do this? Wait, what's your sober date? You said 2020? 21.
Yeah,
so you got like a year, 14 months.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats.
Thank you.
It's a fucking miracle. So have you been doing this like actively still?
No, that's the thing. It's so easy to get out of the habit of it. You know what I mean? But what I do still do is like I've corrected a lot of my negative self-talk. That's also super huge. Like I'm heavier now than I've ever been in my life because I quit smoking meth. So like that's kind of what happens. But I'm happier than I've been in my entire life. And I know that if I keep telling myself, God, I'm fat. Oh, that's so gross. You know what women do when you look in the mirror?
Not just like, women.
Okay, men. Okay.
No,
You're right, but I only have my own perspective. So
I get it.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Wow, what a flip side. It's usually the other way around. Like a girl correcting a guy. The reason I'm and I want to stop where you're at there because, like, I think this is a huge. Someone snapped on me in the middle of a share at a meeting once, and like self degradation. I used to do this shit where I would do something like that, be like, "Oh, my fat ass," just like that, like as a joke. People, and someone cracked. Big Dave did, I think. He shut me up, and I've done it, but to other people because it's kind of it's a mechanism we do, but it takes form when saying shit negative.
Yeah.
And is that what you're talking like? And I don't. These are things you're telling yourself. Like I'd say it in public, and I don't know if that's something you've experienced or you've done.
Yeah, it's almost like I would say it before somebody could think it or say it. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure.
Come on with it.
However, I learned like your brain is like it's an amazing little organ, you know, like, and so you keep telling yourself that you're never not going to be fat or you're never not going to feel fat. Your brain will find supporting evidence of that all day long. Those declarative statements that you tell yourself, you know what I mean? So you just have to change. It all starts with your inner self-talk, you know what I mean? And it's even more powerful if you can say it out loud to yourself, you know? So I really tried to do that.
Positive actions.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
You really do have to love yourself.
Like that is, I don't want to say easier said than done, but it's work.
It is. It's not easy. Another brilliant thing my counselor taught me was to build my recovery out of worth and not desperation.
What do you mean?
A lot of people feel desperate, like if you're doing it because of somebody else, like you said, or like I'm desperate to get my kids, or I'm desperate to just not be miserable. It's not impossible, but in my understanding, it's going to be a lot harder than like when I think of how worth it is, you know, how worthy I am of a good life, how worthy I am of love, and to rid myself of toxicity in my life. That was another thing that I needed to get out of my life, the toxic relationship.
That's such a great angle that you're bringing up towards that. Like you heard me try to bring it up with you. Like I don't know how to word it in a way of me not saying the only way it works is if. Because I know that's bullshit. And this podcast has shown me that because we've had people on here, Buddhists, transcendental meditation, religion, spirituality, cold turkey shit, just different lifestyle, person, place, and thing. Not just the big book, not just basic text, not this fellowship. I get it. There's other ways it means to the finish line of your and it's been time that I've been able to see that. For me, I know it works for me. You know it works for you. You know it works for you. But the main thing is like we had Ken R on here talking about like the key thing is you went out and had your own experience with it and figured it out. What does work for you? With saying what you're saying, like that's a whole different angle of it being like you get. Is it the way you're wording it? Are you saying it works not better? It's more efficient if you're doing it for self because of self-worth, or what do you? Elaborate more if you can for my slow ass.
So when I think,
he just did it.
I just did. See, good catch.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Slow is better than fat. We're making improvements.
Slow and fat.
Well,
I thought you were gonna say fast.
As far as
can we
do
like? Do you walk slow?
All right.
Do you walk slow or do you process slow? What's going on with this slowness?
No, I'm skinny impaired. Is that better?
No.
Okay, so no. All right, break it down a little further if you're able to about doing recovery for self only versus, or not even. You didn't say only.
You just have to build, like, if you have to look at your recovery as from a place of worth, you don't have to.
Yeah, that's what.
It's a lot easier for me to attack my recovery from a place of worth than it is to attack it from a place of desperation. Desperation is just a negative. It's a word with negative connotation. Deficit. You know what I mean? You're starting at a deficit. But if you are starting from a place of worth, I feel like you're already 10 steps ahead. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's hard to.
If you have questions, go ahead. Speak up. This is all our show.
I would add that when I started my recovery, it wasn't a place of desperation, and it wasn't until I came to a better place that I realized my worth to keep it going.
Yeah, I think it takes that for sure. None of us felt, well, I sure as hell didn't feel worthy with the hard push from my Sandy County probation officer to get my butt into treatment. I don't know what it is about getting into treatment, but you're dragging your feet. You know you need it. you're miserable, but you don't want to do the work. But
Is
for
it
me,
shame or
I was afraid of
fear?
being sober. Yeah,
Okay.
I was totally afraid, and I was afraid of the amount of work. I was afraid of I never, since I was 15, I've been smoking pot.
But
You know
did
what I
you
mean?
know,
I'd
like
never been
in your
sober.
head, was it a deal where you knew you could do it, but it was just gonna be work?
I knew I could do it. I've always known like I could do anything I put my mind to.
But it's gonna be work.
It's going to be work. I was afraid to go to treatment. I just was. You know what I mean? A lot of people know that I went, you know, a lot of people that I know in my life were like, oh, she threw her career away for meth. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, the world's always gonna have their
yeah,
opinions.
you know what I mean? And they really didn't know. I mean, none of them bothered to ask what a 33-year-old girl with a doctorate, what was hurting in her body or in her mind that made her need to pick up a meth pipe. You know what I mean? Because we're all, in my opinion, I was just trying to escape the pain and the, you know what I mean? I was heartbroken in there.
Drugs are only a symptom.
Mm-hmm. Precisely. So yeah, I forget where I was going with that.
We're talking about the start getting into recovery for self-worth reasons or attack. I like that you attacked your recovery, but starting at a place of self-worth.
Yeah. But good point.
Versus
Jessica,
a deficit.
I wasn't feeling worthy walking in there, but it took me clearing the smoke. It only took about a week for me to really be able to think clearly and feel my happiness again. Like, holy crap, I couldn't believe how fast the happiness came back. And that's all I wanted. Like those nights you were up all by yourself, just hurting, just wanting to be, you know, my dad had passed away about 2.5 years before I got clean. And like, I ended a relationship with a terrible, you know what I mean, at the same time as my dad died. And it was just like, I was just emotionally bankrupt, to say the least. Like, I would have never committed suicide, but I had never not wanted to be alive more in my life, you know? And so, but it was amazing how quickly the happiness came back. And so, like,
all your emotions, right?
Right, all of them.
That's the scary part.
Mhm.
I still, to this day, have a hard time dealing with my emotions.
Yeah.
I don't like, for years I was on Prozac, and it just put me in this low of happiness.
Yeah.
And that was good.
Alaina spent a couple different shows about when she does a self-care, and she's talked about that quite a few different times. Like, we brought it up. We've had shows about it, like, because I think it's so huge in life, not just like, that's a whole nother side thing. We're not gonna go down yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you're finding your feet in recovery. You're like, I'm not putting myself on relating everything with you, but was this the first time since you're 14, 15 that you had a clear head? Like, let's say what it was. You're smoking pot.
Yeah.
You're like, because
they called me Destini my whole life.
Destini.
Yeah.
Ah.
I mean, boom.
That's better than Butthead.
Oh! So the girls at my sober house call me.
But that is good, though. I mean, not the nickname. What I'm saying is, like, I didn't realize, because, like, that was my thing. Like, I smoked pot since 10, 11, 12, whatever. Mm-hmm. Always. There's always, because, like, people in my life now that they're not in recovery, but they never had a problem. But they didn't get, when I'm trying to explain to them, like, I've been fucked up since 12. Mm-hmm. Maybe not, like, mental health-wise, but there was always some form of a substance, whether it was just weed, just alcohol, whatever. There was always, until I got clean at 36. Like, 36 years old was the first time as an adult I had a clear head. Yeah. Like, clear head. Mm-hmm.
I had 3 weeks in jail before I went to treatment.
I would say that, but I was getting pills in jail from, like, I wasn't, like, I'm serious. All of my unwanted vacations, like, that. What I'm getting at is, like, so, like, a week in, you're starting to get this clear head for the first time of your life.
Yeah.
As an adult. Emotions, like you said about being happy, but, like, take us through that first week or two when you start getting clear head and you, like, what is the decisions? I usually don't dive into this with people, but where's your head going at this point? Did you have your job yet? Did you have a job then?
Nope. Okay. I had not worked for the first time in my, like, once I picked up the meth pipe and got to the daily use, like, I was cleaning house for like 2 years,
You weren't using your doctorate.
Why does everybody want to clean houses when we get high?
I was cleaning house a
Are you
long time
fucking
ago.
serious?
I was cleaning house.
I didn't want to
before-
clean my own house.
I
when
clean
I was high.
the
Oh,
I
shit.
clean the stove when I get
I
high.
fucking organized every drawer in my home.
To be fair, I was cleaning house for a number of years before I started smoking meth.
It's a good gig. I know people do it. So
After like 2 years, so unreliable. I just couldn't show up anywhere on time. You know what I mean? So like eventually, I
you had
just
one
wasn't working.
priority.
Yeah, yeah. Things that we would, that we would make time to do before you need to be somewhere when you're high on meth.
That's so
unreal to me. Like I really, really need to do whatever this game is on my phone. Have to before and be late. It's just,
Or I need to reorganize this tub of shit
Yeah.
for 3 hours before I get to where I said
Yeah.
I'd be 20 minutes ago.
Anywho, so no, I wasn't working
that's
for
right.
about probably 3.5 years at least, maybe 4 years before I went to treatment. So,
But what I'm saying, utilizing your doctorates. Let's say
No,
going
I
into
never
the
did
field. So where does the game? When does the plan of attack get in your head? Because by the sounds of it, like your counselor teaches you about this negative shit, you understand it. Your plan of attack type shit. When does like life start come into your vision? When do you start thinking, all right, time to? Dave put it best at it. Means like we get into recovery, it's time to grow the fuck up.
yeah, I mean, shortly thereafter.
It's work,
But my plan has never been to go back to chiropractic. Like, it's just not something that maybe it's a hill I'm not willing to climb. But there's like, it was 10 years ago that I graduated. There's 10 years of continuing education credits. There's $175,000 in debt that I haven't even attempted to pay back.
How much?
And that's
It was like $175,000
federal
for that.
too. That
Yeah.
shit can't go away in bankruptcy. It sucks.
Yeah, but I've never heard of student loan jail, so I'm just like riding it out, you know.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know.
And you wouldn't be able to work with me if you worked with
Right,
chiropractor.
and so
We had a chiropractor on last week.
Did you?
Yeah, he said I don't even know if I brought
But
it
he
up.
doesn't practice anymore.
No, he's retired. He sold his company, whatever. Did he talk about it last week?
Yeah,
I don't even remember.
he does other stuff.
I know I work with him. So let's take to when you decide to get into this field that you're in now.
okay, so while I was in treatment, me and my counselor sat down, looked at like some career options. I had kind of looked at wanting to be a lawyer because I wish like I like to advocate for people who can't advocate for themselves. However, I also like dig the science and the just like the recovery shit, you know, like it makes sense to me. So, and I have this knack for like talking to people. So we discovered that maybe becoming an LADC wouldn't be a bad idea eventually because I'm halfway there with my bachelor's degree. So, but
LADC, licensed.
the drug and alcohol counseling.
Okay.
So I pulled out a plan for that. When I left treatment, it was a 90-day program. He was like, you don't need intensive outpatient. Don't do intensive outpatient. You're doing pretty solid. Just do like 1 or 2 days a week, just to wrap up the few loose ends, you know.
Is that what you felt like you needed at that time?
Yeah, I was good. I had a different plan, you know. Like when I first got into treatment too, I was like, I'm not going to sober living. Like it hadn't even dawned on me that might be part of my story. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, probation's making me go to treatment. It was bad enough I picked a 90-day treatment center because it was the only bed that was open. That's
Where'd you
the
go?
decision I ever made. Cranberry Acres out in Linwood.
No, yeah.
I grew up in Linwood. Like we don't even have our own post office. And my dad's buried 10 minutes from there. I know that he was like big treatment. And I know that there is no place on earth that you're more comfortable than Linwood. There was a 90-day inpatient facility that specializes in meth and heroin addiction right in my hometown. Nope.
It's a great facility. It really is.
I couldn't have been more comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was great. So, but once I left it, I was like, no way, 90 days, I'm not going to straight sober living. I'm not going into the cities. I'm a country bumpkin. I'm not going to a sober house. Blah, blah, blah.
In the city with all these other
girls. You know what I mean? It's just, it just was not what I wanted to do. So I got out of treatment, went to my mom's house, who still uses, took me 4 days to smoke pot. I don't count that for my sober date. That's my story. That's my story.
Your story. Whatever.
So, but that did make me realize
you're in treatment for meth, right?
Right. It
Good
did,
enough.
but it also made me realize I'm also on felony probation, and they frown upon meth use if you don't have your mouth. So
You mean marijuana use? You said meth.
Oh,
yeah.
Have a medical
Did I say
card? You have a medical card for meth? Where did I get? Where did I get one of those?
They frown smoking if you don't have a card. So I was like, okay, you need more structure. So
You got responsible about becoming a reefer smoker.
yeah.
Just
No,
only-
I didn't go get my medical card. I didn't have it, so I knew that smoking pot, like that's how I knew I needed more structure, because I knew I was going to have to see my probation officer in the next week or two, and I smoke weed anyway. Like,
Yeah.
so there's
And
a
you're working
problem.
on yourself, so that was a problem for you.
Right.
Okay.
So what I had done was reached out to someone I know that went to a sober house that was out. I live in a sober house in Ramsey now. Dude, you know,
Yeah.
it's not so city. It's beautiful.
Okay.
Best decision I've ever made. Best decision I've ever made.
I got her to drive to 2218.
Yeah, it's only 35 minutes. When you grow up in Linwood, everything takes at least 20 minutes.
So is Linwood the one that does Linwood Days firefighters?
Yeah.
Okay, I've gone to that, and they
No
blow
shit.
shit up.
Yeah.
They blow up giant barrels out in the middle of this flipping like soccer field or something.
How do
It's
firefighters
awesome.
look?
Yeah.
Ah, you girls. So, all right, it's the 10 o'clock hour, top of the hour. I think we're making good progress on getting to know each other, talking about recovery. So far, thank you, girls, for opening up and sharing.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to talk about, again, I know I talked about it at the beginning, but this is a big event happening here at 2218. The Whoopee Party. It's the mother effing Whoopee
Is that like
Party.
a whoopee cushion?
It's a Whoopee Party. Meetings all night long. Dances through the new year. Game room. $5 pancake breakfast at 7 a.m. $10 suggested donation. But check it out, all you New Way people. And I'm wondering if it's alums, because I'm a New Way alumni. But all New Way clients are covered. You simply sign in at the registration desk for both the event and the breakfast. So share this with anyone you know from recovery who's at New Way. Come on down. Like we've got tons of recovery facilities around us, and it's awesome because they get to come to this club and check out some recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we got a New Way less than 2 blocks away where I went. There's one over out Central. They're all over the joint. We got house 1 and 2 over here. Anyone listening who's anywhere near someone else who's going to New Way or you're going to New Way, share this shit. Share it with everyone you know, because the more the merrier. Again, it is the 31st of December. It is going to be a blast. We got DD. Come on. Here at 2218 First Avenue South in Minneapolis. If you have any questions, you can reach out, or not questions, but it's a number. It just says info. The number is 952-594-5394. Hit that number up for info. Maybe be respectful of the time you do call, because I don't know if that's someone's personal number, if we have a recording or whatever's going on. But that's info for the Whoopee Party. Also, I brought it up earlier, and I wanted to be more thorough about this. If you are struggling, please reach out. If no one's let you know today, like, you're worth it. You're worth the fight. Fight for yourself. You're listening to people who have 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. Like, we made this choice to do this. You can make this choice too. Destiny made it real clear. Like, it's going to be some work, but it's work on yourself, and it's worth it. Like, you haven't heard anyone say they're pissed off for getting clean. I've yet to have someone on the show who's upset that they got clean, but you never know. Maybe it's just not for you, but it's also worth giving it a shot if you want. I really went on a tangent a few weeks ago about like being happy and not being angry. Like, what fun is life when you're just constantly pissed off? And I can assure you, get into some recovery and start working on yourself, that anger goes away. I love it. So work on yourself if you want. Recovery is free. Come on down. If you got $1, you throw it in the basket. If you don't, just keep coming back to you. That's not. So, again, we got that party coming up. We got Jane's Cafe or Gratitude Cafe. I'm not sure what we've named it, but we did switch it. It's on Saturday nights. So come on down here tomorrow night. Get your eat on.
Come where?
Come down here at 2218 First Avenue South. At 6:30ish, come on down, and you're gonna get fed like a champ for like less than $8. I don't know. I will get a proper flyer for this. I know it was $5.50 or $6, but like I said, you get, like last week, it was tater tot hot dish and like Homemade
Yeah.
cake, homemade brownies, and like ice cream, and I don't know, water and coffee, and like course her homemade pizza and like a vegetable and some salad and pop, and it's worth it. You're not gonna go anywhere else and get a homemade meal for that type of money, and get the fellowship you get when you come here. Come on down and hang out for that's when we have our medallion night. The speaker night's at 8 p.m. every Saturday night here. Plus, there's an everyday NA meeting here. Every day of the week, there's an NA meeting at 2218. Every day of the week, there's an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting here at 2218. We got some young people's meetings going on here. I'm not 100% sure if we got Al-Anon back in the house. I know we got CMA in the house. We got a ton of different fellowships here. Come check it out. Like, a lot of people didn't know that 2218 has all these different fellowships, but they do. So make this your club. If you're able to financially help out, please follow the links on through. Help out. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone who's checking in. Now, back to your regularly scheduled program.
Back to your regularly scheduled program.
Yeah.
I feel like we should flip the script and like we should get to ask you about your recovery.
We've been doing that for years, little lady.
Little lady.
Jess has an idea. She wants to talk to Alaina about her recovery. Get after it.
Alaina, where are you going, Tim? Who was I making eye contact with?
What do you
Make sure you
mean?
speak
What do you
right
mean
there.
you want to? She knows about my recovery.
I
But
do.
our audience
That
doesn't.
I do.
Now you're good. I'll be right
What-
back. No,
what
we're
do-
live. Get after
What do you
it.
want to know?
You girl, hey, and talk about how you know. What?
I
Post this
already
shit.
said how I know
Alright,
this
I'll shut my
girl.
mouth.
But I will say, so I know Jessica and I know Destiny because I work with Destiny, but I don't know Destiny. Like, I know her in work mode. Like, I know when she calls me for
shit.
questions.
Dirt
So
nigger.
we don't really talk about work. All I know is that the first day she's like, I'm going to like this chick. And
Why?
she thought the same thing because
Yeah.
we're just alike.
Yeah.
Our personality and our smart ass remarks that we make to each
You're
other.
sassy.
Like, we're lucky there's no HR because we would be fired.
True.
My sponsor said yes, get Alaina.
Get Alaina. All right.
I need a new sponsor.
It's on. I don't think it works like that. I don't know. I think you're kind of stuck unless it doesn't work on one or both ends.
I'm stuck with this woman for life.
I know. Just like you're stuck with me. I want to hear about your first time around.
My first time around? Well, which time? So I went through treatment in 1996. I was still like about to be in high school. My mom busted me drinking and smoking pot with boys
And send you to treatment.
and sent me to treatment. Yeah. It wasn't even that bad. So then I stayed clean and sober for a while through high school. And then I met my ex-husband and got really hardcore into meth. And I went, he wouldn't quit. And I ended up pregnant with one kid. He still wouldn't quit. He had this thing about drugs and women. So then I ended up with another baby, got married, and he still wouldn't quit. So I got divorced, and I've been clean off of meth since 2005.
Nice.
And was that catalyst because you became divorced or because you were ready or?
No, I had 2 kids, and I've seen too many people get their kids taken away that I didn't want to lose my kids.
Mhm.
Like, they were the number one top priority in my life. And it was like, I've been in relationships since then, but I've never really expected anything from anybody. Like, I've never expected them to pay for these kids. Like, now I've been doing this entire life as a single mom because my ex-husband is gone. Like he's alive, but he's gone.
Right. And I know that you're real active in your recovery, and I'm sure your kids see this. Do they have any idea about what life was like before that?
Oh yeah, they know everything. They know everything. I tried to do the whole scare your kids sober, but my kids are doing their own thing. My oldest is away in college, and she drinks, but she knows my rule about drinking and driving and doesn't. And my youngest, I'm not gonna lie, she does the marijuana self-medicate program and it helps her with her anxiety. And I'd rather my kid be able to medicate herself a certain way than to stick drugs in her system that aren't going to help.
Right. Yeah, I concur.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they both know how I feel. Like, nobody does anything around me. Nobody brings up the situation. Like, they understand and they are okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I have no drive anymore. Like, I talked about this at work one day. Like, yeah, there's days where I'm like having reminiscing moments of, oh, it would be so nice to go home and drink some wine tonight because it's 75 degrees out and I can sit outside and enjoy the weather.
Mm-hmm.
Or I drive past a bar and say, oh, I used to go there and have a drink. But I don't want to do it anymore. Like, it's not something where I get off work and boom, I want to go to the bar. No,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think about it. I used to think about just going to meetings and just doing recovery and just doing all that. And that's all recovery. And it got so time consuming that sometimes people are like, why aren't you going to meetings? Why aren't you doing this? Because I did so many.
I know.
And now, like, I've been doing Zoom meetings at work. I sit there typing emails and doing my job while I'm doing Zoom meetings so that way I can still get this recovery ingrained into my brain.
Yeah.
I know I need it.
We do. We need it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I told you, but I recently took on a sponsee myself.
What?
And do you think that I felt ready for that?
Nobody ever feels ready for that.
It's intimidating.
If I sit in a meeting with my sponsor and they say, anybody who's willing to be a sponsor, raise your hand, and I don't raise my hand, she like stares at me with the look of death. I can feel her lasers beaming through me.
I feel like you would do that to me. I feel like you would do that to me. I would still be reluctant to raise my hand.
Sometimes I just am because I've had some sponsees that, and it's my own ego. Like, I've had so many sponsees that say, will you be my sponsor? And I'm like, yes. And I text them and I try to work with them and I try to do things with them, and they don't have time, like, or they just don't answer. And like, but with you, it's different because you reach out when you absolutely need to. You have a busy ass schedule with your work. So like, I don't nag you because I know that if you need something, you're going to call me. It's like,
And I would.
I couldn't even get some of these girls to call me, so then I felt like they were just asking me to be their sponsor so that way they could say, yeah, I have a sponsor. What?
Yeah.
What? Like, maybe it's just my own thing. Like, that's just, you know, do I want to sponsor more people? Yeah. I'd love to be able to do what my sponsor does. So my sponsor, every Sunday morning, we all get together. Right now there's 3 of us. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think like 6 of us. And every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, we would get together and we would read about the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Or we would read a book. We just read Drop the Rock. We were reading part of Drop the Rock, and we started over to help one of our other sisters. And I'm so glad that she's back because she was like one of my best friends. And it's nice to start over because then when you start reading the book again, you start realizing things that you missed last time you were reading it. And you're like, damn, when did they add that to the book? Same book I've got highlighted 5,000 times in 20 different colors, but they added a new sentence in the book that I didn't read before. So like, that's a great feeling that you're still being able to be teachable every single day.
Do you do the AA book or the NA book?
So I do the AA book, but I do have the NA books because I have an NA meeting that I have. My very first meeting coming back after sobering up off of alcohol wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to somebody on Facebook, said, where's there a good meeting? And he sent me to an NA meeting up at Bullion Alano. And I chaired that meeting. Like, I did all kinds of stuff at that meeting.
Yeah.
So I do both, but my main program is AA because that's what I do with my sponsor.
Do you sponsor any of NA?
I did once. She ended up falling off. She came back, but I didn't know until after like 5 months that she was back.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not her sponsor.
I got this shit-eating grin on my face because I think I figured out why you invited me to this podcast. Like, okay, so I'm 14 months clean. I have a home group. I do everything except for
I'm gonna smack you.
pick the sponsor or work any steps, right?
Butthead!
I know, right? so and this is the thing, right? I had a girl I put I forget what clean time mark it was that I put on Facebook. High school reached out to me on Messenger, and she was like, "Oh, blah blah, I'm like 10 years clean or whatever." She does the AA. She's like, "Do you ever need a sponsor?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah. And what did I say? She just gave me like a mic drop statement, but I was like, I do have a temporary sponsor because I do have somebody that I call on not working the steps.
So you have a mentor.
Yeah, thank you. I have a mentor. Way better, thank you. But I was like, but I'm not really like taking the steps as seriously as I need to. Blah blah blah. And she says this, and so I figured out that she says, "We don't need to do anything, but good luck with that willingness." And I was like, oh, I guess it's a willingness problem.
Oh my God, I think my sponsor has said that to me.
I loved it. It was boom. You don't need to do anything, but good luck with that willingness. So for me, I just self-reported. It is a willingness issue for me right now, or it has been, you know what I mean? Knowing that I need to, as happy as I am now, I know this won't last forever, and I'm going.
Imagine how happy you could be.
I know.
If you had somebody in your life to help work you program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know.
And you're a pretty happy person.
So I'm fucking happy.
You could be on this permanent cloud 9.
Right. And just be, and I think I'm a pretty good person, but I could be an even better person. And I know.
But not everybody's recovery is cloud 9. Sometimes
No, not
it's cloud
everybody.
8, cloud 7.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm hitting cloud 3 on a
I
good
think
day,
she's
I'm
already
cool.
on. I think she's already on 7. Like, this girl is always smiling, always happy. Like, even when she's having a bad moment at work or something, she's like always got a smile on her face.
Well,
Yeah, I know people like that, and I want to piss in their Cheerios.
Honestly, after my dad died and my narcissistic psychopath boyfriend fucking with me at that same exact time, like, nothing in life that has happened to me that's been negative can touch that. So, like, really, I have so much to be grateful for right now. Like, life's been good to me, and I know that won't happen forever. Life still happens in recovery. Fortunately for me, the road's been pretty smooth. I've also have to credit myself a little bit because I've made the right decisions to make my life less stressful. I loved your reading that you started with because that's been hugely beneficial for me. Like, watch my own bobber.
Mm-hmm. If
it is not my bobber, we don't worry. What other people think of me is none of my business. And as cliche as it is, the serenity prayer, like those 3 things, like, keep it simple, stupid. Like, those 3 things keep me so much happier and have way less stress in my life.
But isn't it amazing how the road just smooths itself out when you get sober?
Yeah. Yeah.
You keep making the next right choice. And I'm not saying problems go away entirely, but the problems become smaller and more manageable.
Yeah, and my approach to my problems are so much more healthy. So, like, it was like 2 months into like a month after I moved into my sober house, all the way down to like Worthington to like bring somebody a car part who was broken down, and like my Nissan, the oil pump went out, right? And like, right, that's your car's done, And it happened to go out right as I was hitting a rest area. I happened to glide right into a parking spot. There was a trucker that happened to be leaving at that time, and so within 10 minutes, I was on my way with the car part. He was dropping me off the half hour I still needed to go to get to the person who I was saving. And like, I had this giant smile on my face as I'm trotting across the road to bring him his car part. He's like, how in the hell right now? I'm like, because A, how hilarious is this? And B, like, this could have been so much worse. My car could be sitting on the side of the road. I could be paying for a tow truck. Like, it's safe for the night. Like, I got a really good friend from my childhood that like has a flatbed truck. As soon as he will come down and haul it home for me. Like, had that been in my addiction, I'd have been panicking because I would have probably had dope in my car. I would have, like, for sure, all of the things, you know what I mean? Good luck as a tweaker trying to find anybody reliable to come get you in the next 2 days. They're all on their way though.
Yeah. Good luck getting a ride without getting abducted and murdered.
Exactly, So, I mean, I was just instantly grateful for recognizing how much worse the situation could have been. But yeah, so my approach and my perspective has been So much brighter.
So we've got a question that comes in quite often. And thank you everyone who's interacting. And if you guys have questions for our guests, please post them. Are you seeked out help, or what does that look like for you?
Okay, prime example. I went to treatment and became friends with that was in recovery with me, and she moved into my home.
Okay.
She relapsed a couple times, and I kicked her out. Recently, within the last month, she asked if she could move back in with me, and I said, okay, what's going to be different this time than last time? And I have laid down ground rules. I know you're not working, but you're going to pay me X amount each week, whether your mom or your boyfriend pays it, because you're still using the utilities, invading my privacy.
So you set boundaries on the parameters of her moving in.
Correct.
Now I'm not saying this to you, but in general, like there's always a second part to setting those is sticking to them.
What happens when they're violated?
Just sticking to them.
No,
like,
what happens when they're violated?
Or what happens when they're violated?
Well, it was violated, and she drank again. And I had a hard time coming out with how to deal with it, but my way of dealing with it was talking to her the next day, and I said, you know what? We've been down this road. I will give you one chance, and the next time, no questions asked, you're out. I will not tolerate this. I'm not going to allow your poor choices to affect my lifestyle, because I'm working my program. I'm working on my own happiness, and I didn't call your mom.
Right.
I didn't say, hey, come over here. I want to take care of you again.
And this is just recent, apparently?
Within the last 2 weeks, yeah.
Okay. And how is it? Is she seem receptive? Doesn't even matter. You're ready to proceed with 86 and if it happens again?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So those are boundaries that you're sticking to.
Another boundary is with a family loved one who was actively using, broke into my house last year, stole my vehicle, stole the title to my vehicle, crashed it, left it on the side of the road with a bag full of needles and syringes in it, and I still have not gotten it back to working order. And that's my winter vehicle. So now that I have a nice summer vehicle, I should actually be driving my little cute little Ranger. But that loved one went to treatment and is in recovery at the moment. And it's so hard to be hopeful without getting your hopes crushed. So how do I even say it? Setting realistic expectations for other people in your life.
Have you come to any conclusions that you have no control over someone else's actions?
I absolutely have.
Because I have. Like, it's tough. I ask you honestly because it's something, like you asked me what a hurdle is, that'd be one for me still today.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to loved ones, it's a whole different ballgame than when it comes to a friend or someone you're helping out.
So my healthy boundary in that situation is I do not have an ongoing relationship until they reach out, apologize, man up, try to make amends, and then we can move on and have a relationship that will not necessarily include trust, because that's very hard to build.
No, it has to be earned, yeah.
Right.
And I get that.
But if they're a loved one, you can't. It's hard to just separate the love, you know?
Yeah. No, and that's one of those. It's something to be worked on when you learn to love from a distance.
Yes. And that's what I've done.
I did, and good. Like that's something you're actively. When I ask about hurdles, you actively know about a hurdle that's happening and how you're addressing it and working on it. What was it?
Stony.
Stony. Hurdles, early recovery or recovery, not early. What hurdles have been the big ones, and how have you been addressing it? And if it's the what was that? How did you word that? Negative.
Negative core beliefs.
Yeah. Besides that one, because we talked a bit about that. What has been some like hurdles in recovery for you?
My sobriety hasn't really been triggered, but my emotional health, like I guess I gotta be real. Like most of it's been really smooth sailing. I got myself in a really, really good supportive sober house. I did 6 months of outpatient, so like waited to get a job till after that. I just like was able to, after my dad died, set my bank account up a little bit. I could just get to know myself sober and not be stressed out about money. And like, I know that that's what he would have wanted me to do with his money. Rather, I purposely didn't access that money until right before I got clean so that I didn't blow it. But anywho, that provided me with the time that it took. So honestly, I've been able to make some really good choices and give myself a lot of time. I think the only thing that I really struggle with now is like, love is a bitch, right? So no, it is. And like, and I'm 40 and I think I'm kind of a catch, and like I've never been married and like whatever. So like I struggle with that. But ultimately I know that it's because I don't love myself enough yet for the person that I deserve to come into my life. So it's been hard for me to set the healthy boundaries with the minimal toxicity that I still allow in my life. Toxicity on nowhere near the level that it used to be. But just wanting someone to see your work that just doesn't, you know what I mean?
But we try to show them.
We try, but that's, and it's just like a uphill battle that you're never going to win, you know what I mean? But that's hard to accept. So
It's hard to what?
It's hard to accept.
So before we go any further, usually we do this at least once or twice a month. And tonight we're going to do it again.
He took a deep breath to get ready.
Listen, boys and girls.
Are you on 417?
You know where I'm at. And acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I am disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, thing, or situation, some fact of life unacceptable to me, and I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, thing, or situation as being exactly the way it is supposed to be in this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing, happens in God's world by mistake. Until I could accept my drug use, alcoholism, XYZ, I could not stay clean or sober unless I accepted life completely on life's terms. I cannot be happy. I need to concentrate so much what needs to be changed in the world as on what needs to be changed in me and in my attitudes. So, like, that kind of goes back to what Alaina shared about right away at the beginning of the show, but acceptance is, I believe it's huge in life, like in recovery. It says it in a roundabout way, but if it's something I can't correct right here, right now, there's no point in dwelling on it. Like, if I can't fix something right here, right now, family, love, whatever it may be, that it's taking a toll on me, I do my best to move on, to just keep living, and to find our happiness. Like, we all know what that looks like on our own terms, or we eventually figure that out. The longer we stay in these rooms, like, you sound like recovery's been fun, a breeze, figuring out who you've been or who you are. Like, acceptance. We talk about that a lot. So it also talks about God's green earth
That was
by
what I
mistake.
heard.
Mm-hmm.
Are we
In-
doing? Are we doing this?
In my ear when you read that,
did this.
that was what struck me.
I felt that. So the next question is, just because it said God's green earth, I'm going to ask, do you have a higher power in your life today? And if so, what does that look like? And if not, what does that look like?
I 100% do.
You're nodding your head. I'm like, oh, she doesn't. Okay.
No,
She shook her
I
head
do.
no when
I
she
do.
said that.
I know. I love it.
My parents raised me.
Take your time. No, this could be a long question. Yeah, but go ahead.
I found a church that worked for me. I chose to be baptized 2016 in the lake with my pastor. I invited my folks. They didn't show. Another disappointment you can't control. But the thing is, when I attend that church service or log in online and listen to the message, it speaks to me because God's speaking to me in that way. I just lost a loved one, and he knew it was coming, and he said, "I'm not scared. I'm ready to go meet my Maker." And it happened 2 weeks later that we didn't. I mean, we knew it was coming, but I'm just so thankful that God gave me to go spend time with him before he passed.
So you do have a higher power, and you know what that looks like.
I do.
Does your higher power play any role in your recovery today?
Absolutely.
How?
Absolutely. Because I will.
There's no right or wrong answer.
No,
it's
no,
just
no, no.
your experience. Like,
I'm going to tell you something super cheesy because
get after it.
I was driving here and I was like, you know what? I want to listen to my Christian music. So I put on my little faith playlist on Spotify on the way here because sometimes I need that spirituality in me.
Hey.
And sometimes things hit me or I realize like, oh shit, this happened because it was supposed to. Or this didn't happen because it wasn't supposed to, more importantly. So, yeah.
Plays a big role. That's good. And plays a good role in your recovery. I think I didn't get an answer on how your higher power plays a role in your recovery today, with exception to you saying you put on music. But that, because it was a side.
You're right.
But how I sound like an asshole. Like, you didn't answer my question properly.
No.
You see what I'm asking though? Like there's a step that we talk about giving it over to our higher power. And it doesn't say giving it over to God. It says our higher power. And my understanding is that's something greater than me that can handle the shit I can't handle for now.
Yes.
So, like, without trying to give you some type of answer, like, how does your higher power... Ooh, is that an elf pod?
No, this one is.
Oh, I got some nasty shit to show you about elf. All right,
No,
sorry.
we're not talking about that.
No, I am. I want to show you guys some.
It's taking me off the hook from the answer.
No, it's not. So, higher power, that's that ADD shit. How does it, like, are you able to incorporate? I wasn't able to for like 3 years incorporate a higher power with anything with my recovery. That's why I ask people with like 1-2 years. Like, to me, it's really interesting if you're able to. Like, can you push your shit off on it? Or do you believe it? Or
no, I believe it because when I say the serenity prayer, I believe I am giving it to God and asking for his help. That's my higher power. Not everybody is.
I have an excuse for that. That's your shit. People. Like, the sooner I realized that, what I just said, like, because it took a while for me not to be okay with the way I was dealing with shit, I had to get acceptance from you guys. Like, make sure it's okay with everyone else, or am I doing this right? Everyone, that looks different for everyone. So, like, to talk to someone who wholeheartedly believes in that, what they're saying, like, I'm like, good shit. That's awesome. So, again, I think you just answered it, but how does your higher...
my best.
How do you apply
best.
your higher power in your recovery?
I think it's when I pray.
Yeah, you said the serenity
When
prayer.
I pray, but not just the serenity prayer. I pray for other things. I'm just today I submitted an application, and because I'm at a place in my life that I never would have been before my recovery, I say to God, if this is your will, please let it happen for me.
Okay. And that makes sense. So, thank you. I didn't mean to beat you up on that question. I did beat you up on it, though. Okay. Destini. Or what'd you call it? Butthead?
Butthead.
Destiny. Do you have a higher power? If so, what does that look like?
I do. It has changed throughout my recovery,
Mm,
for sure.
okay.
Um,
What do you mean?
when I first got to treatment, it was my dad. You know, like when I found myself reaching out to that whatever's bigger, greater than us, I would be talking to him. You know what I mean? Because he's in heaven. I've been blessed to just gain a better relationship with. Now, you know, I talk to Jesus all the time. You know.
That's your higher power?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And what I think is kind of interesting about my spiritual growth is I used to pray to get me out of situations. You know what I mean?
Fossils.
Pray to get me out. Pray to take this away. Take this away. Get me out of this pain. Get me out of this pain. I now like pray for him to show me things. You know, but first and foremost, I always start out grateful, and that's not because I've trained myself to do that. It just happened. I'll be like, and I pray out loud, and I'm
Is that a recovery? It's happened since recovery?
Yeah,
That's
yes,
part of
for
a change?
sure.
Okay.
And like I'd say the latter half of it. You know what I mean? I was blessed with the best roommate ever for 10 months, who helped build that relationship with me. You know what I mean? She has a very close relationship with Jesus, and that showed me the way. You know.
When I say, listen, you guys, both of you, like anyone listening too, I'm not taking away from what you're saying, Jesus or God.
Mhm.
Good. Like I back that shit.
Mhm.
I keep saying higher power because I know lots of people list. Yeah, it is. It's different for everyone. That's why I don't repeat you as saying Jesus. I'm saying higher power.
Mm-hmm.
And like what mine looks like might be different, but it's probably the same. What hers, I just understand anyone listening, like
Fill in the blank when I
yes,
say Jesus.
higher power, something you're comfortable having something else handle the shit you can't handle right now, or ask for help with.
Before I was in treatment, it was the universe.
There
I
you
would
go.
just like seriously. I was like, I know that there is something. Like I'm still kind of into universal power. Like
Right.
there's something out there but greater than us. There just has to be. Look at a snowflake. You know what I mean? But
Would you?
yeah. He's sensitive.
Yeah.
Oh, side note, hey Robert L, we're praying for a speedy recovery with your shoulder or elbow with your recovery.
Shoulders are the worst recovery.
I meant your shoulder. I think it is. Whatever.
If it's elbow, that would.
Yeah.
I think
Rotator cuff is the worst surgery to do. Yes.
So yes, Rob, I saw you just hopped on. We're hoping that you're doing well, my friend. And Papa, love you. So your higher power, you have one. How do you incorporate that with recovery when hurdles? I know you didn't say you had many hurdles, and I know like with the loss of your dad, just I've already can tell like that plays a big role in your thought process and your actions. Where does this higher power, how are you able to utilize it? I should ask you it that way too. How are you able to utilize your higher power when struggles or hurdles arise?
Yeah, so like how I relate it to my recovery and how it helps me with my recovery is like the things that make me want to use are high stress situations, not feeling good enough, feeling alone. So when I'm feeling any sort of ounce of any of those fill in the blank emotions, ask my higher power to show me his way, you know. For example, my first week at the
You must talk to him a lot at work because I talk to mine a lot at work.
For example, the first week over at the women's house, stark difference from the men's house. And I'm not gonna
You're talking about at work.
At work.
Okay.
Okay, this is just an example. But work stress is a thing, you know, like we're just, you know, like the desire to use has been lifted, thank goodness. However, I still need to keep myself mentally healthy. So this is that first week was hard, right? And the ending of that week was real hard. That was in the morning, there was just a whatever. To the point of in the middle of med pass, in my head, I was like, what the F am I doing here? Like, what the F am I doing here? Like, corrected myself, sure, you know, like redirected myself shortly thereafter. But I found myself the next morning, I was on my way to work. I have a little bit longer of a drive, and I'm like, okay, well, your higher power puts you where you're needed, not necessarily where you want to be. You know what I mean? So your higher power puts you where you need to be, not necessarily where you want to be. You know, and as hard of a pill as that can be to swallow or accept, I was like, okay, well, I guess he's trying to show me some compassion, some tolerance, some, you know what I mean? Anywho.
You're able to catch a lesson, not a lesson. You're able to catch a learning experience out of situations.
Yeah.
That used to
or at
baffle
least
you.
I was able to recognize some weaknesses that, so literally I parked my car and out loud I was like, dear sweet baby Jesus. Thank you for all the opportunities that you placed in my lap in this beautiful thing called recovery. I thank you for the opportunity to be in this work environment. I pray that you show me some grace, some peace, some compassion, some tolerance, and some capability today. Thank you, amen. And I did that every day that week, and it was a great week, It was a less stressful week in general, I think, but like, I don't know, it just resets the tone, and like, it's such a relief to be able to let go of the things that you can't control. Let go and let God, it's such a relief. So, I don't know, I guess that's all I'm going to say.
That's a good answer. Alaina,
What?
do you have a higher power?
I do.
What's that look like for you today?
It looks amazing. It looks amazing. My higher power, I'm not afraid to tell, my higher power is nature. Because of the thing that Destiny just said. Like, you look at all the amazing things that are around you out in nature, and how can that not be a power greater than me? Mm-hmm. How can that not be? Whether it be the snowflakes, or an example that I've told people before is you can watch a tree burn and then it come back to life. Like, life, things happen in nature. Or the simple things of, we talked about it in a group once. I do a step group thing at my work with another counselor where things like eagles. We talked about how eagles are an amazing higher power for some people, and not shitting you, that week, my boyfriend had 2 eagles in his backyard perched on a tree. And then we went out to Wisconsin and we saw 2 eagles sitting next to each other. And then when you least expect it, all of a sudden there's an eagle flying over you. One of my coworkers, there's some stuff going on right now, and I was thinking about her, and I was driving to work yesterday, and there was a flipping eagle. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, these are the little things where your higher power jumps in and they kind of help you. When I'm having a bad, my biggest thing is I go sit out on my deck and I will talk to nature. I will do the things that I need to do. I love going for walks. I love the fact that I have woods in my backyard. I see deer walk through my backyard every single morning. Like, these are the kinds of things that I love to do. I can sit outside with my dog for hours in the fall. Do I like winter? No. No. I made a joke the other day. It was like 2 degrees on my way to work, and I made a joke when I got to work that I was sitting on in a tropical island this morning. They're like, "What are you talking about?" I said it was 90 degrees in my car, and I turned on the headlamp. I had the sun hitting me, and it was 90 degrees. Like, it was absolutely amazing. So, I mean, yeah, I have a higher power, and I talk to my higher power, and I pray to my higher power. And if I didn't, I know that I wouldn't be able to get anywhere, because I have to be able to give away the things that, and my sponsor gets on me all the time about this, because I still try to take control of certain situations, but I have to be able to turn it over to my higher power. And I do that.
So you understand, like, not understand, everyone's is different. I already shared, like, I feel I dumb it down for myself that I need something greater than myself to give that shit over that I can't. Mm-hmm. Maybe I can figure it out and deal with it later, but for the time being, it's easy for me to say and really get it off my plate. It's the really getting it off my plate part that I still work on. I can say I'm giving it over, but then I let it still twirl around up in the melon. So that looks different for everyone, and that's why I bug people that I want just feedback. Like, this is a selfish, personal question I ask. So, we are going to talk about gratitude, but before I do that, I want to ask, Jess, is there anything you want to bring up or talk about before we start wrapping up the show? And if not, it's all good. We usually task
didn't really tell them to bring
all right, yeah, we usually ask you guys to come up with the topic if you want to share about something, or there's something bugging you that you want to
Destiny
share,
said she'll be back,
or whatever. Yeah, you guys are both being invited for the 30th show. So, is there anything you'd like to bring up or address?
My only thing that I would want to say is to anybody that's listening that needs help, please get it. Please ask for it because you're worth it. And life is worth it when you decide you're worth it.
Yeah.
Awesome sauce. Same for you, Destiny. Is there anything that you'd like to bring up or address? Talk about?
No, I'll save it for next time.
Perfect. And this is an open invitation to all my past guests, and I'd expect you guys to come by if you're able to. The 30th of this month, it's the year-end show. I'll be having tons of guests coming and going. Probably 5 to 10 minutes of some setup questions for you guys. You're both invited to come back that day. I will send you a message about it. So this is the time.
Well, before we get to gratitudes, who's going to be here next week?
Next.
Because I won't be here.
Okay, we'll be fine. That's perfect. Not perfect that you're not here, but I have 3 guests coming next week.
Okay, because I'm going to Washington.
Oh, what's in Washington?
Nature.
Yes,
Sure is.
there is nature.
Probably a lot
No,
of egos
I'm going to see my father.
Nice. Nice. How long has it been since you've seen Pops?
37 years.
Holy shit!
Wow.
What is the... Come on, how are you going to drop this on us at
No.
1:45? But we got 5 minutes
Well,
for
we
it.
talked.
What
I
is this
brought
about?
it
You
up
brought
last
it up.
week.
No, you did. I remember kind of...
I know.
Tell us again about what's going on. How did you reconnect or stay?
So
what's up?
my parents got divorced when I was like 3. My father ran into some legal issues. He went to prison and got out. He ended up in Washington and he stayed there. And for a long time, my mom told him that he couldn't contact us. So we tried finding him for a very long time. Couldn't. It's really hard to find people that are not legal. So we couldn't find him, and I kept trying, and he couldn't find me because my last name is my married name. So he was able to find my sister on Facebook. And I started asking him questions that only he would know. And
Yeah, you got to be
for a
careful.
while, I thought it was like a scam. And then he sent me a picture of my sister and I in the backyard at my grandparents' house wearing the ugliest jackets
Did you tell us
ever.
this last week?
No.
Okay, good.
Wearing the ugliest jackets ever. And it was me and my sister because my grandparents have the same exact picture.
No, grandparents, your mom's parents or your
My
dad's?
mom's parents.
No contact with your dad's
My
parents?
dad's parents live in Cuba.
Oh, this is the ethnic side of Alaina. Yes.
This is the spicy side.
The spicy side. Ayoko.
So we got in contact 8 or 9 years ago, and it's only been over phone or Facebook. I've
Okay.
never gone out to see him, and his health.
Does he have a family?
His health is starting to fade. So
Did he have a? Did
he
he
has
ever?
he has a girlfriend that he's had for a very long time, and she has a daughter. And they're a happy family.
Can I ask a personal
So-
question?
Hell yeah! This is
Yeah.
a podcast.
Because I would know the answer to me, but did not having your father in your life lead to a sense of abandonment for you?
So I had a stepfather that I've had since I was like 5.
Someone you called dad?
But I called him dad until I got to a certain age, and then I started calling him his real name. It sucked not knowing that side of my family. Like, it really sucked. And then to hear stories from my grandfather before he passed away, and then from my dad once we started talking about why he couldn't contact us.
Ooh, was there some regrets or what's that word?
Resentments.
Resentments.
There was, yes, where there was some manipulation and why he couldn't contact, and if my grandparents talked to him, they wouldn't be able to see me and my sister type thing.
Oh, Mama was
Like,
a beast.
oh yeah. So there was some things.
Now that you're an adult, was it on Mom's part, or was she really trying to protect you?
No, it was selfish.
Okay.
It was very selfish. So I don't know. He's been in and out of the hospital a few times, and
Cancer?
no, just life. And my boyfriend and I were talking that we should go out and see him, and he ended up back in the hospital again recently with really bad COVID again. And my boyfriend said, "You need to go." So 3 days later, I bought tickets, and my daughter and I are going. He couldn't get off work, so my daughter and I are going.
Which daughter? Bianca or
Ronnie.
Ronnie? Awesome. So she'll meet her grandpa. You'll basically meet your dad.
And just this last Memorial Day, Ronnie had 2 of her friends come out from Washington to stay with us for the weekend and visit. So now while we're out there, she's going to get to see them. And so it's kind of nice because my kid's a gamer. So she's got friends all over the United States. And she has these 2 friends. And I was like, sure, they can come out. Like, why not? Like, I talked to the parents. I was like, yes, let's do this.
Watching me some 47-year-old weird creepy.
No, one was 16 and one was 15 and one was 17, and they were both boys, which is fine. Like, I don't care. I trust my kids.
How old is
she? Right now, she just turned 18. And
story stuff. Be careful.
Oh, trust me. Trust me.
I'm being the smartest. We gotta have some humor.
All
on
of
the
her
show.
friends that she's friends with the internet, all on video. I walk in the room and they're like, "Hi, Mom." I'm like, "Hi, guys." People from Canada, like all kinds of stuff. It's actually kind of cool that kids can be friends with people.
They have a whole different way of life than we ever had.
Yeah. I remember having to walk like 5 miles just to see my best friend.
Oh my God, yes. I rode my bike at least 10 miles to go hang out with my best friend. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We used to talk to people on a phone that had a cord.
Yep. And had slam that
mug
down.
And we used to use these things called payphones that you put a quarter in.
Yeah.
Unless you could call collect and your parents would actually answer.
Lucy, my dog.
I love Lucy.
Yeah, she just ate a bag of Scrabble tiles.
Damn it.
Yeah, so I took her to the vet. No word yet.
Shut up.
I was going to ask what kind of pajamas people are going to wear to this pajama whoopee party.
Oh, look at that. Nice.
I got my first Christmas card in forever, and it was from that girl right over there.
Oh, that one right
there?
Yeah.
Okay, but it was to make up for last year's Christmas when I bought a pine-scented candle. Like, there's my fucking tree.
I kept wondering why the basketball kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it hit me. Hey, girl.
Your mouth.
I got fired from the bank last week. This lady asked to check her balance, so I pushed her over. All right.
Damn.
I never worked at a bank in my life. So, Destiny, what are you grateful for today in life?
I'm grateful for my sober house. I'm grateful for my sobriety. I'm grateful for my job and my kitty cat.
Okay, nice. So, Jessica, what are you grateful for today in life?
There's a list a mile long.
Get after it.
Okay, I'm grateful for Alaina, my sponsor. I'm grateful for the invite to be here today. I'm grateful for my house, my comfortable lifestyle, my career that I love, my friends, my loved ones, my dad who comes to see me every week, my crazy drunk neighbor I even am grateful for.
She has the cutest dad.
My dad is one of my best friends. That is true, and I'm thankful for that. But those are some of the biggies.
Awesome.
What are you grateful for, Tim?
No for food.
No bueno.
No bueno. Oh, that's what these are, is buenos or something?
Bueno.
As always, I'm truly grateful for the ones that didn't give up on me and the ones that are still in my life. Like, I burnt a lot of bridges, and fuck, the bridges are still built. I can't believe it. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for connection. It never made sense to me when my counselor would be like, the opposite of addiction is connection, until I started needing the connections I built. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for realizing that type of shit. I'm grateful for having a brain to realize some stuff today. Alaina, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for possibilities. Like, there's so many things that I can do in recovery, and just the fact that I am clean and sober, there's so many things that I can do that there's no longer anything weighing me down and holding me back from doing things. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's what I'm grateful for.
Spicy. I love it. So, guess what, guys?
What?
Whoopee party!
Bango bingo. We've got a whoopee party coming. A Jamie Jammer PJ party, December 31st. $10 suggested donation.
I'm guessing PG-13 pajamas.
Hell no.
I
Get after it.
promise, whoever's
those of us who
listening,
haven't
I
had
promise,
breakfast, we
are not crazy, okay?
Yeah, they are.
We just have fun.
We have a lot of fun in recovery. Do you guys believe that was 2+ high?
It did fly by.
Yeah, it's because we have fun.
And you know what? And our friend Jess over here has to get up at like 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, bless your heart. You were
No,
talking about the
I
30
slept
that's-
4 hours last night because I got up at 4
That's
a.m.
recovery dedication right
You
there.
damn right.
Totally is.
That's
I was
what's
already
up.
thinking, like, I won't make it to the 30th because I gotta work at 7 a.m. the next day.
You'll
Shut
be fine.
I know.
You can come in. We're probably by then. I think we might start at 8
Yeah.
and move. We're gonna have a long show, 8 to 11.
Yeah.
I won't even be here for the whole time.
But yeah, just whatever. You guys come on in. Next week we've got Tony, John, and John. We got a sponsor,
Same John John's?
John B, and John you haven't met.
Oh.
Speaking of that, real quick,
Square.
John Anderson,
Yeah.
like we send our love and prayers for you, hoping like you get better, bro. Like you're supposed to have been on the show. I know you went in the hospital right on the week that I wanted you on here, but you'll get better and get your ass back on this show, not just in the comment sections.
I was going through my phone the other day, and then I found, and John is like this special friend. We have a love-hate relationship. We like to pretend we hate each other, but we love each other. And I was going through my phone the other day, and I started just laughing, crying, laughing from all the selfies that I have in my phone of John, because if you leave your phone on the table, he will grab your phone, and I started
Try to be
doing
a
this to
boy.
people.
What do you think he does?
And he will take the phone and he will just make funny faces, and I have so many of him. And it's funny because now I do that to other people. If you leave your phone on the table, because you don't have to unlock the phone to take a picture.
Nope.
You can just slide up from the right corner and you can take a picture. So I take selfies on people's phones whenever they leave them. Just so you know, Destiny.
He's a special human being, and like John, he's a rider. He rides motorcycle with us, and he plays a big role in a lot of people's recoveries just because of the way he shows up, and he's a testament to this thing of recovery. And we love you, buddy, and we're hoping you're getting better. Also, John B, who will be on the show, we're glad about the news of your wife. We're glad that hopefully all cancer was taken out. It sounds like that happened. We'll be talking about it next week when he's on the show. But like, these are things we get to be appreciative for in recovery today. So next week we got a sponsor, grand sponsor, and a sponsee. Like, what is that? Son, father,
3
grandpa.
generations.
3 generations coming on the show next week. And they've all got real strong recovery. It'll be a good show. So tune in next week for that. December 31st, Whoopee Party. For the last time, I'm going to talk about a Whoopee Party with DJ Jimmy B. The dance goes through to the new year. We've got a game room that'll be set up with all sorts of fun games. $5 pancake breakfast at 7 a.m. And anyone who is New Way, I will find out if it's by next week. I'll know if it's alumni are offered to be covered. I hope so, because then that opens up the doors. The key thing is like New Wave pays the cover for anyone who shows up that is New Wave.
Can I just say something?
You
If
can say
anybody wants to go to this party and is worried about the suggested donation, I want you to text Tim and he can tell me how many people want me to pay their cover into this party.
Hey, she got a sweet little BMW, so she ain't bullshit. She got money. Talking about $50+ an hour. And 137 on special weeks. Listen, she ain't bullshitting. If you just reach out to me, I'll make sure you can get in. Basically, show up. No one's going to get turned away. And yes, the podcast will figure out a way to help cover the fees. Between all the people I'm going to have on the show the day before, we'll take a kitty or something.
No, I promise I will cover that.
Don't worry,
that
I'll hold you to it, because watch, the shits are flooding in.
Yeah, who wants to go? Matter of fact, I might show up in my pajamas.
I hope you do. Shit, we can't talk about it, not be about it. So yes, we got a big party happening here. And again, all New Way clients are paid at the desk or something to that effect. Let me just confirm so I don't shove this big foot in my doing. New Way clients are covered. Also, you just simply sign in at the registration desk for both the event and the breakfast. Make sure you sign up for both. I will find out about alumni. I think you got a couple alumni sitting at the table here, and I know a lot that are just basically it's going to be a blast. This is what recovery looks like. We have fun between this stuff and the Thursday night bowling at Blainbrook, or like the 5 o'clock fellowship at Papa's every Thursday. We do fun stuff in recovery. That's what it's about. Don't forget about your other outlets. We got 2218 that has daily fellowship meetings of all different venues. We got Will Work for Recovery. We got New Hope Alano, Fridley, Blaine Alano. We've got Serenity Village for some spiritual recovery. We got Eagle Brook. There's tons and tons of places out there for recovery. Don't cheat yourself out of this awesome life that you hear us talk about every fucking week. You deserve it. Fight for yourself. Again, mental health is real. Don't give up on yourself. If you're struggling, please reach out. We put our numbers up there. This is a networking situation, so utilize it, please. You're worth the fight. Fight for yourself. If you can't do it, just can help you. You're loved. And with that, Alaina, we're gonna call it a wrap.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Adios.